is my YouTube channel. I'm the one that has Writing for Love and Maybe Money. A lot of excitement coming along about that, which I'm going to be able to tell you. I wanted to hop on this afternoon and give you a little bit of an update on a case that we are following, the Nancy Guthrie case, the older lady that we're missing out of Arizona. And we're all just obsessed with that. And I can tell you why I'm telling you that I'm kind of like young, silver haired Brian Anton. If that was my mother, boy, I'm telling you one thing. I think I would have found her on day one, but that's just me being emotional. I know this is very complicated, but I did have an update that I've been listening to, and to my great friend Peggy Griffiths that got in the car wreck and is still in the nursing home recuperating. Hello, darling. We love you, and I am just continuing in prayer for you. And to all of those of you who are watching this and you're getting your news from me, you know what? I'm so honored that you're looking at my YouTube channel. This is going to morph into my news channel and my television channel, and I'm going to do these current events podcasts frequently because I get so many messages from you all saying how much you like them. Now, I want to be a little bit brief. I have, for a few days, me and some of my other friends have been watching what might be the updates on this. There has to be updates because this thing has been going on for months and months now. She disappeared on February the 1st, and for so long they have just insisted, the Pima County, Tucson, Arizona Sheriff's Department has said over and over again that she was kidnapped. Well, if she was taken out of the house against her will, I guess that you could say that she was kidnapped. However, this is not a kidnapping. This was somebody, I feel, as more and more news begins to come out, somebody trying to extort her or her family trying to get out of a scheme they were caught up in. There was an address that she had been calling, trying to find out about some information on some property. It appears down in Mexico something was going on because in the van that was taken and kept for 40 days, there was a little bit of DNA found, and it belonged to some guy way off, hundreds and hundreds of miles away, that also was involved in some kind of like international scam to get money out of elderly people or something like that. I don't know the exactly what, but I do want to say hello to anybody watching. I know I've got to get my timing a little bit better on this, but have you been watching this Nancy Guthrie stuff? So there's a few updates. So the I've come to think a little bit after having watched Mr. Garcia, the private investigator that's on it. Boy, he's the smartest one I've seen so far. He got on here, he got on the internet, and he was talking about how he's got a guy that works with him that's just an expert at taking these photographs apart. And this private investigator, Mr. Garcia, said that this guy that worked for him had been able to take that mask off that man on Nancy's front porch and find out who he is. And I hope that, and I believe that he's turned the information over to the FBI. They're looking at it very closely. Who knows what the Pima County Sheriff's Department is doing to it. But it seems that they do have this guy unmasked. And to my understanding, he probably was the secondary character in this plot twist. I don't see that he was the number one guy because, but for some reason I'm thinking that he might have been the helper or he possibly was the guy that drove the vehicle that drove off with her. So we do have some information, and this private investigator was given fabulous information. His name was Mr. Garcia, and did anybody see that? You saw that, and so he was also saying, based on his 30 or 40 years of being an investigator in that area, that he didn't agree with Nancy being taken to Mexico. He said that he felt like maybe that was an effort by the gang of crooks, or the one or the two crooks that had taken her, to create a distraction and get off the trail, because it does seem that the trail is getting hot. And this private investigator appears to be hot on the trail of the guy that was unmasked. I would like to see the picture of what, but remember what I said about what you can do with photography? You can do amazing things with these photography apps and these photography tools nowadays. You can remove backgrounds, you can remove shirts and obstacles and stuff. So why couldn't you remove the guy's mask? And maybe that's what's happened, because Mr. Garcia did say that one of the deputies, or that several of the deputies, he did say that they had, I believe that Sheriff Nanos had asked him to show the deputies how to do this. So I'm just kind of amazed that they didn't already have somebody that good at technology, but this will help them. And so it appears that this guy was masked and unmasked with this technology from Mr. Garcia's helper there. It also appears that the sheriff's department had already detained this guy, so they do know who this guy is. They got to get their hands on him, because it does seem that I don't know, maybe after he found out Mr. Garcia was hot on his trail with a bunch of Walker hound dogs. I don't know what happened, but it does seem that this guy that was unmasked has fled and left and caught a plane in a remote area of Arizona, and left not only Arizona but the country. They did say they had tracked that he had come from something like 300 miles up north. Well, guess what? The DNA in that van said this guy that the DNA went to was hundreds of miles away. So now this is getting very, very interesting. So if this guy came from somewhere up north, and he is connected possibly to these scammers down in Mexico, look, this is the most bizarre case. I still say that somebody in her family, somebody really, really close to her, could have been caught up in this kind of scheme. Somebody was trying to get money out of Nancy. One other thing, I watched the interview with Mr. Garcia on this lady's website called, I believe, Criminally Obsessed, and that is an excellent website. I have my favorites. She's one of my favorites, and it's funny, but right now I can't even think of her name, and I didn't write it down. Woe is me. But anyhow, I wanted to tell you that. And a couple of other things. It doesn't seem to me like anybody has any information except this private investigator. Now, they did say that they had released the other parts of the ransom notes that came in early on. I feel like those ransom notes are part of the stick up. They're part of the hoax, that whoever's done this, and we think we know who did it, and it's part of the hoax that they've got going to distract from what really happened. And in the ransom note, the guy said that they had buried her with nature. And the first thing I thought about was they were all a bunch of poets down there, so this sounded kind of poetic to me. It also, according to one FBI agent, is a way that someone who did the wrong thing might be trying to go ahead and create himself for himself, or himself and herself, or herself or himself. It seems like the guy is trying to create sympathy for something he did. Now, we had a psychological window called the Joe Hard window that we used in my work for the state, working with, I will call them some troubled people that we worked with, and we were trying to explain to them what it does to a person who is guilty of something to keep that guilt inside. Have you ever heard this will eat you alive if you don't talk about it to somebody? And that's why criminals and crooks sometimes will run their mouth to somebody about what they just did, and everybody kind of likes to talk about it. I don't know what's going on with these criminals and crooks. They do something really bad, the first thing they want to do is tell it to somebody. Well, I didn't think much about that. I wouldn't agree with that, but it does seem to be that this guy was sending that ransom note, or that note. It can't be called a ransom note anymore, but it seems like this guy was trying to create sympathy because he knows the only thing he's got to get to sit down in for the rest of this life is old Sparky, that chair they got with the hot wire running to it. And so he's trying to create sympathy and go ahead and influence maybe a jury, or who knows what the guy's doing. Look, I'm not an FBI agent. I would like to ask one of my best friends, Jan Dowden, what she thinks about all this. And if she will fall for that, she'll be doing something, because she had never fell for it before. But maybe I could get somebody else to comment on this. So, if you know anything before they catch them red-handed and that big bunch of money's lost, make sure you get your Nikes on and go to the sheriff's department, or make sure you call 1-800-CALL-FBI and talk to Cash Patel's sidekick there, and tell somebody what you know, what you saw. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and turn these people in so Nancy Guthrie can come home to rest. And I know that the other great shows out there are going to have a lot to say about this. I've watched Nancy Grace ever since she first got on TV. If I'm not mistaken, she's a Georgia girl from Macon or somewhere. And I also watch Paula Dean, if that's anything to you. She's from right over there at Equipment, and I know right where she lived over there. And so there's a lot of people from Georgia. There's a lot of armchair sleuths and people like me. They're just going to talk it up because, number one, we like to help. And we want to keep awareness going about Nancy Guthrie. She obviously was this wonderful woman. Of course, she's Savannah Guthrie's mother. And she has family. She had grandchildren. She has grandchildren. And we want her to be brought home to rest in peace. Now, I do have a message I want to give to beautiful Savannah Guthrie. I want to talk to her about not blaming herself. The other family members are not to blame themselves for what happened. I'll tell you, only God knows what's ahead of us when we get up every day. One last thought. I am working on the poetry video to teach you folks who think you could just write across a tablecloth and hang it up on the wall and say, look, I wrote a poem. That's not the way that poetry is done. I will have a video up for you in just a couple of days now. My own poetry book that I've got going did something wonderful. It spawned a song, and that is why it is being delayed. An absolutely wonderful song that I think everybody's going to love. Please see my YouTube channel and be one of my friends on there. Say hello to me. Please see me on Instagram. Now, I have not posted too much on Instagram, but I'm really getting hot with Instagram. I'm going big with Instagram. Please get on there and say hello to me. Let me know if you have a website I can look at This is a two-way marriage we've got going here. I love you all. Thank you for joining me today with the updates on lovely Nancy Guthrie. Bye bye. Um, I don't even know what I sometimes wonder if I know what I'm doing. Let me see if I can get off of here. I do see you people. I love it when people visit me. It's possible that I met some of you people in my book tours and my travels around the United States of America. And I've given speeches to so many crowds. And if I've met you before, say hello. Hi there. From Ireland. I have walked into here into my cluttered studio, and I'm just about to sign off here. Once I um figure this thing out, I've just done a what I hope is a wonderful video updating everybody on the case of the lovely lady Nancy Grace. I don't know what the light is doing in here. I know that we don't have really great lighting, but we're going to remedy that very soon. And I wanted to sign out and tell everybody goodbye. Thanks for dropping in. I especially appreciate one of my best friends, Brenda, in Augusta, right there outside of Augusta. She's got all these grandchildren, just beautiful, beautiful place there. And she said a while ago that she really liked my earrings, and that just made me feel so good. I love you all so much. Thank you for joining me. Please go look at my Instagram account. It's P Mercer Author on there. I am trying my best to pull the wig off and unravel here, but we just had an update on Nancy Guthrie, and I appreciate you all watching, and it's just really a lot of fat for us to be chewing on. And I think that the private investigator there is the one that's going to crack this case. And I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I've come in another room here and got, seems like the light is just really messed up in here, but we'll get it fixed. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all. I will be back. I hope to be back Friday about 7 in the morning. We're going to start that early bird stuff because what we know is that the early bird gets the worm. See you later. Thank you so much. Let me see. Hi from Ireland. How wonderful that you've dropped in to say hello to me. How wonderful that you people are on here with me. I will stop now. Bye bye.